So we was able to get them tied. They real professional up here. I mean, we got it done, no problem. Cayenne. Yes, sir. You know what she is, heavy Sorrells. The Hickson, the Libra Red blood. We're gonna capture all them traits right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's going on? Megiddo. Catch going Megiddo, if you didn't know. Back at it one more time for you, all right? So, I know y'all been waiting. I know it's been a few weeks, but hey, I've been busy. I've been making moves, and then still you got to work, take care of the family, take care of the household, all that good jazz. So, with no further ado, the Gold Cobra litter. Did she take? I've been getting a few questions, and the answer, yes, she took. So, thank the Lord. You know, we here. You know, so everything went well. My girl Cayenne, she did take. All right, so if you've been catching up, I had a few, people hit me up, even in the comments, asking, did she take? Y'all went back and y'all saw the video. So she did take. So first things first, on the video that, I did the short with Mr. Tom Garner. I've been getting a lot of love on that. Been getting a lot of, people reaching out to me saying, hey, man, I saw your video. Even on TikTok, so I've seen some folks did it on TikTok. Some people, did a reaction to it, this and that type of stuff. So we got a good review on it. So I appreciate all the support. I appreciate everybody that's been following along. And if you're new here, go ahead, subscribe to the channel. It costs you nothing. It's free. You get updates every time I drop a video and things like that. So let's get into it. First things first, why did I make this breeding? All right. It's real simple if you know dogs. If you know the dogs that we have, you understand pedigrees. Some people, they just pedigree warriors, and that's good, because at one point I was looking at pedigrees all day long too. And then you understand you got to look at dogs. You got to look at the dog and understand what's in front of you on four legs. All right. So the reason I made the breeding is I'm a fan of the Sorrells line, the Sorrells bloodline. Right? I'm a fan of it. So what I like about it, first things first, is it's a very malleable dog. It's versatile. It ain't just, all gas, no brakes. Cayenne. So Cayenne just had a bath. She in the air drying. Pet first. She is bred it's a to thinking Hickson dog. Jr. It's very intelligent. For those who've been wondering, it's a smart dog. They malleable. They smart. They think. They durable. They durable dogs. They some durable, well-built dogs, especially the ones I have. They got good conformation, things like that. So that's the main reason I like the Sorrells dog. They got a turn on and turn off switch. If I haven't said it before, they got a turn on and turn off switch. So that's the whole reason I like the Sorrells dogs, or Sorrells. All right, so some people say Sorrells, some say Sorrells. Proper way to say it is Sorrells, but I understand people say Sorrells. All right, so there's no disrespect to Mr. Bert Sorrells or anybody who listening on anything like that. All right, so I crossed it because I wanted to bring a little more mouth to Cayenne. Cayenne is a fiery dog. She's very active. She's very, high-spirited. She also, when it comes to being a pet, is a very submissive dog. Great temperament. I mean, she's the type of dog that'll come and just want to just walk in between your legs, put a head at your feet, all that type of stuff. And that's another reason I like the Sorrells dogs. So, they got that trait, so. But as far as just performance-wise, as far as just, biting the tug, biting the hide, like I put a video up of her, working, me and her walking, me and her just being out. And she doing some spring pole work, I can say. I would just turn up her mouth. That's the only thing I would do. If I want to make a better version of her, I thought about what can I take her to. Knowing this, you got to know what the Sorrells is based off of. It's based off a dog called Sorrells Bull. Now, if you look at Sorrells Bull, and I mean, this go way back, but some people say, they don't want to go no more than 2 generations back, 3 generations back. And I understand that. I'm the same way. But I'm looking at a family of dogs and what relates to this family of dogs. So the Sorrells Bull is the start of, basically, you can say, it's a predominant dog in the Sorrells line, Sorrells Bull. And he is 2 times Zeke. If you look at his pedigree, he is 2 times Zeke. Another dog, famous dog off of Zeke, is a dog called Indian Bolio, or Bolio, right? Indian Bolio or Bolio, however you want to pronounce it. Bolio is a very famous dog, right? We all know about the Bolio dogs for people who in the pit bull world, and people who just not understanding bloodlines yet. You just along for the ride. You just want a good dog. Hey, you in the right spot. You learning a lot. Keep learning. Keep listening. All right. So Sorrells Bull and Bolio are half brothers. They both got the same sire, the same daddy. So when you understand that, you understand these two lines, the Bolio and the Sorrells, go back to the same root over generation, and dogs just down the line. They go back to the same roots. All right. So that's why Bolio is a, prominent dog in a lot of different dogs, a lot of bloodlines, even a Sorrells line. The line has stood the test of time. If you understand it, you know how to, work it, you know how to breed it, you know how to get the best out of it. They some great dogs. All right. That's with any line, right? But this is why ultimately I made the breeding. And a few tidbits, a few different nuggets I'm finna drop on you. If you made it this far, you finna get the nuggets. Understanding that Mr. Bert Sorrells, he had pedigrees that he hung, meaning he didn't show the real pedigree. I'm going to insert a clip. I got to say shout out to Mr. Lee Robinson. I've dealt with him. I've known him. We have some dealings with dogs and things like that. And he done an interview. And this is it right here. So check it out. See what he say. You can see it.
And so
all right.
He would have some inside information on how Raisin was truly bred. So for Madison Parker to tell me that Raisin was off of Bubba Bo and Two Shoes, and that Two Shoes goes back to Miss Boomerang, who's a daughter of Boomerang, and that the top side is Baker Davis's Scratch over Baker Davis's Grasshopper, and that this is basically a pure Boomerang bred dog. Well, why does that matter?
This is why it matters. All right. And this is why I made the breeding. So just to bring you up to speed, it was broken down how the dog we just saw is really not a pure Sorrells dog. Mr. Bert Sorrells was hanging a pedigree on this dog. This dog right here, Raisin, we just saw. All right. His real pedigree is he have a lot of Boomerang influence in his pedigree. Well, you may be thinking, well, why didn't you just go with a Boomerang dog? I didn't want to go with a straight Boomerang dog right away. I wanted something heavy Bolio, and even with that, it has a Boomerang influence. So Raisin is a Boomerang dog, but the pedigree, it don't show it. And if you don't know that, you would think it's just a straight Sorrells dog. All right, so why he do it, I don't know. Back in the day, they did a lot of things. They hung pedigrees, and it was more, competitive nature back then, historically when they was doing dogs, what they was doing them for. All right, so we ain't doing that today, but we are understanding the history, and we just breaking it down, and we learning how to get the best out of our dogs by knowing the history of our dogs. All right, so that's the key point right there. All right, so also check this out.
Back up, and we're going to go back to Pokey's pedigree. So Bandit is in this Pokey dog 3 times. Now, what else do we see? We see Bubba Bo in here 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And we see the Hard Eyes Bandit breeding, which never produced a cur. So here's some of Bert Sorrells' best blood right there. And then we have some of his best again and some of his best again. But what's going on with this Bubba Bo and Raisin dog? Because we can see Raisin in there twice. So in one of the interviews that I have with Madison Parker, he talks about the Bubba Bo dog. And he said that this Bubba Bo dog is one of the dogs that Bert Sorrells hung a pedigree on, that this is not his true breeding, that his top side was Baker Davis's Scratch, and that his bottom side was either a bitch or a daughter of a stud named Baker Davis's Grasshopper. So it was Scratch over Grasshopper. I don't know if Grasshopper was the bitch or if it was the father of the bitch. So regardless of that, all of this blood would have gone back to Baker Davis's Boomerang, because the Scratch Grasshopper combination was based off of the Boomerang blood. So that means Bubba Bo
So
was
this is
a
what we got to pay
Boomerang
attention
dog.
to right
But
here. This
Bert
part.
Sorrells did not want any accomplishments to go to Baker Davis. He wanted those accomplishments for himself, so he hung the pedigree of Sorrells Shoshone and Crazy Blondie over the Bubba Bo dog. Now, if that story was all I had, I might question it to some degree. However, after hearing that story, and looking at how Bubba Bo was bred, I thought to myself, if I wanted to get a line, what would I do as a breeder if I wanted to preserve that line? Well, I'd want to get a bitch that was bred on Boomerang, and I'd want to take it back to my Boomerang male. So we have a male here that's Boomerang bred, and what does he breed it with? Well, we see that he's going to breed it with two things. One, he breeds it with Bandit. So there's Bandit and Bubba Bo, and Raisin is off of Bubba Bo, and he breeds that back to Bandit, his best bitch. The other thing you'd want to do to breed it is back to some more Boomerang blood, if that story is true. So let's take a look at Two Shoes, and we're going to see that indeed Two Shoes, her bottom side, goes back to a bitch named Miss Boomerang, and that Miss Boomerang was a daughter of Boomerang. So I think that Madison Parker's story about Bubba Bo is probably very true. The other reason why I would say it's very true.
Also, you see where he said a lot of dogs, well, not a lot, but Bert Sorrells, Mr. Sorrells, had Boomerang in his pedigree, right? So if Boomerang is in his pedigree, if I know that as a breeder, even if I don't know exactly where the dog's at, I know which families to match up my dogs with for an outcross. I know which, way to go with it, especially with the Bolio. That's just a given, that's just obvious. So I thought to myself, after looking at these dogs, putting pedigrees together as we do, what's the right dog I can take my female to? So after studying my dog's traits, my dog's personality, my dog's drive, my dog's build, my dog's bite, my dog's everything, right? Because we ain't just looking at pedigrees. People think I just put pedigrees together. You can keep thinking that. That's fine. Think what you want to think. But Megiddo going to let you know. All right? Don't get me started. I'm going to put some dogs together the best I can. So I said, what's a good dog for my female? Now, I know some people would go back with more Sorrells, back with this, back with that, back with whatever. Cross it however they want to cross it. But this is the logic and the thinking behind it. I found a dog, Hickson Jr., who got a lot of good Bolio in him. And he have a Boomerang influence, a Boomerang cross back in his pedigree. Hickson Jr. go back to Hickson. Hickson is heavy the Lever Red dog. So once I came across Lever Red, found his pedigree, which I've been seeing it, saw the pedigree, but I didn't have Cayenne at the time. I didn't own her. So once I had her and I owned her, I got the paperwork for everything. She's legit my dog. Once I did that, putting everything together, now I can make the breeding that I would want to make with her. Now, somebody else could have that same dog and wouldn't make the breeding. But this is why I made the breeding. This is why I'm so high on these puppies. I'm so high on, the outcome, to see them develop, see what's going on. I'm ready to see what she drop, what she have, just like everybody else. All right, so this is why. So Lever Red had a Boomerang cross in his pedigree. He's already heavy Bolio. And of course, you're going to see the Garner blood because that's what Tom Garner had. And while we're talking about it, Mr. Tom Garner spoke on Lever Red Jr. I got a clip. I'm going to share it. I'm going to insert it in. Check out what he said about the dog.
There's the Lever Red Jr. dogs in your blood today.
Well, the Lever Red Jr. dog who was, I'll go ahead and say a few words about him. He was an incredibly driven, hard-working, high-ability, tough bulldog. And if you have a chance to go back and look in that pedigree, you'll see that there's several good dogs in there. But that the Boomerang blood that's in there, I feel like we're tapping into that a lot. Of course, the Bolio blood that's in there is prominent, but there are connections between the Bolio bloodline and the Boomerang bloodline that most people don't know about. There are commonalities, and I won't get into that a whole lot. I'll continue on, but it's been a very special blood from the beginning. The Lever Red Jr. dog was probably the hardest working dog I ever had, and I've had dogs that I felt like would work themselves absolutely, literally to death. But he's a dog that you could put on a treadmill, a big treadmill that requires work to spin the belt. Mm-hmm. Put a stuffed animal in front of him, come back 3 hours later, he's still running. Yeah. Or put him on a cat mill and put a stuffed animal in the cage, come back 3 hours later, he's still running. Yeah. That's just a work ethic that is above and beyond. Oh, yeah. Those dogs are just tough, driven, and game. Yeah. So anyway, that worked its way from Lever Red Jr. through Hickson and Hickson Jr. And Hickson has produced a number of good dogs. So there's different branches that have come from Hickson. There were different branches that came from Leverett Jr. himself. And what I try to do today is whenever I find pockets of Leverett Jr. blood, I try to collect them and bring them back together again. Fortunately, the desirable characteristics for that blood, just like with Bolio, are intensity and intelligence. Fortunately, those characteristics seem to be controlled by dominant genes. So if you've got a Bolio bred dog or a Leverett Jr. or a Hickson bred dog, all of which are different points on the same timeline, different time points on the same genetic continuum, then if it's there in the phenotype, then you can count on the majority of their offspring to possess those traits. Those traits are dominant for most dogs.
Yeah.
So if you want dogs that are intense and intelligent, a lot of drive, a lot of ability, then get a good Hickson dog with that possesses those traits, and breed them. Most of the pups you produce are going to have those traits. But yeah, the Leverett Jr. blood passed down through Hickson and Hickson Jr. and is alive and well.
All right, so now with me gathering all this information, so Leverett had Hickson, Hickson had Hickson Jr. Hickson Jr. is 2 times Hickson. Heavy Hickson, which is Hickson is heavy Leverett. I said to myself, this is the perfect dog. From then on, once I seen it, once I matched it up, only thing I had to do was make it happen. Get the stud feed, reach out to Mr. Garner, make the breeding happen. And like I say, thank the Lord, we made it happen. All right, it worked out, it fell through. If you saw the last video, you was able to see how I was able to make it happen. So yes, she did take. All right, so here go a little footage of her, showing her how she looked. So her first litter she was bred to Jackknife. And being bred to Jackknife, she had, I want to say 7 boys. I think I said 8 to talking on the phone with somebody. But I think she had 7 boys, 7 to 8 boys. Anyway, she had all boys. So with that being said, if somebody want a pup, I'm going to keep 2, maybe 3, maybe 2. I'm not sure. I am not sure. If she have one female, I want to say that female right now is already spoken for. But if she have 2 females, she have 2. Then we can see what we can do from there. But as of right now, I will only accept a deposit with the understanding you might not get a female. For 1, she might not have no females. For 2, if she have, say, 2 females, then it'll be just first come, first serve. 1 female is already spoken for if she have it. And if she have a second female, it's just whoever, first come, first serve. But it have to be understood. I would just say, let's just wait to see what she have, damn it. Let's just wait to see what she have. So, like I say, she's pregnant. She definitely got some pups in her. She's a good mother dog. I'm thankful for that trait. So now it's just time to see what she have. So she is due June the 20th. Give or take 1 or 2 days. She may have them on the 19th. She may have them on the 21st. But June the 20th is the due date. All right. So if you want to reach out to me, I am not hard to reach. All right. I often put my number up so you can just call me. You can hit me up. Trust me. If you call talking some BS, hey, you talking to the right one, because I sure wrap it up with you real quick. All right. I'm a man's man. We talk straight up and down. It don't matter to me. You call me. You talking like you got some sense. Hey, we can talk, we can see what we can do. I answer all your questions. If any questions, not answered in the video, feel free, you can hit me up. All right. But as of now, all right, I'm going to say I'm going to only accept a deposit, which everybody asking for females. Like, I've been getting a couple of phone calls, everybody asking for females. But I'm going to only accept a deposit on males for sure. All right. So if you want a male, I would say, yeah, males for sure. Then hell, turn around. She might have 8 females if we lucky. But as of right now, I would say you have to have that understanding. Her last litter, she didn't have no females. This litter, she may, I don't know. We have to just wait and see on the females. All right, so the pups on these going to be $1,500 with a $500 deposit. $1,500 with a $500 deposit. Of course, they're going to come with papers. They're going to come with shots. They're going to come with the whole 9 yards. All right, so you can hit me up. This is a little bit of why I made the breeding. Why I made this breeding. for this reason right here. So now after you make the breeding, of course, you know, you gotta see how the pups turn out. It's gonna be a cross, but it's gonna be a cross that's a thought out cross. It's well calculated. So I said with my dog temperament, even if Hickson Jr., you know, say he might be say his temperament may be different than my females. Then I said to myself, with my female, with her traits, her temperament, she'll be able to balance that out. So it wasn't just me putting pedigrees together. So it was, for one, the dogs, matching up the dogs. For two, the pedigrees. And for three, the breeder who I went to. I went to a reputable breeder. I went to somebody who, whether you like Mr. Tom Garner or not, you got to give a man his credit. He know what he doing. He know what he talking about. He got some good knowledge. He got some good knowledge. Just watching his videos on his page, you know, you can learn a lot how to take care of a dog. The genetics, you can learn, you know, the genetics of dogs, how to breed a family of dogs. It's a lot to learn. So you can't knock that. At the end of the day, you can't knock that. So some people, you know, they got their opinions. Some people, I don't know what it is, but when you see the work, when you see the longevity, when you see everything, sometimes you just gotta, give credit what credit due. So shout out to Mr. Tom Garner once again. I think we all learned a lot from him, for those in the dog world and things like that. But nonetheless, this is a thought out breeding. I'm gonna keep, like I say, 2, maybe 3. I don't know how many she gonna have. I wish I can keep the whole litter, but I just can't. I just cannot keep the whole litter. Which lead me back to another point. Don't go broke spending money on no dog. I'm going to tell you straight. It may hurt me saying this, as far as somebody wanting a dog. If you ain't got the money for it, save the money and invest it into your own dog. And I'm just being straight plain Jane. That's the best advice you can pick up off the floor. You ain't got to get it from me. That's the best advice you can pick up off the floor. Save your money and invest in your own dog that you have. All right. Then when your time come around, you know you ready to make a move. You ready to make a move. Unless you just got it like that. Some folks' financial situation just different. If you got it like that, hey, more power to you. So definitely be on the lookout for the litter to drop in the next couple weeks. I'm calling this the Gold Cobra litter, because they finna be some gold cobras. They finna be some straight cobras. All right. So, catch Megiddo. Well, you know, they better catch something or guard something.